this thing on? Can you hear me? Is anybody out there? Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in. You dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's where we can kick it. Everything is going down. They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, Roy Anthony.
What it do? What it do? What it do? What's up with you? This is comedian Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show with my co-host Christina Carter, my man Big Hank. Christina's in Mississippi and Big Hank in Long Beach. I'll be floating from Long Beach back and forth to Kansas City and other states, as you can be aware, because I am a professional comedian. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. Miss Christina Carter won't be making it in today. She has a little situation that is going on, and she had to have her attention on that. So we excuse her today. Please pray for her situation. My man Big Hank will be coming in here in a second. As you know, this is based on the Woe Entertainment platform, which was created by Richard King, aka Redneck Pimp, and the co-creator was Goose, along with our associate producer Blue Phoenix. We got my man Athens, and then we have numerous of other hosts. And yours truly brings the Lowry seasoning. That's what I'll be calling it. So we want to be where, because I've been traveling. I just got back yesterday afternoon over here in the Midwest area, which I got to fly back out Thursday. And we're going to be, and it's funny is that sports is a universal talk, especially amongst men. It doesn't make no difference of what race or anything. We always seem to have our favorite team of our favorite sports. Like myself, I love the NFL football. As you can see, I'm a Raiders fan, but I love good competition. I also love the NBA, NCAA basketball, college football when it's the bowl series. And then my favorite is of all is boxing. Oh man, I'm a boxing fan because in our family, we was always, when I was a little kid, all I knew was Muhammad Ali, in my family. And then football teams, I've been knowing the Raiders all my life. And then I'm an NBA Clippers fan. Everybody knows I'm a true Clippers fan when they used to even have to practice at the Southwest Junior College in Los Angeles, right? But I remember they used to be able to give tickets away. I couldn't even get a ride to the courts. Nobody even wanted to give me a ride to my Clippers game. But when you're a fan of sports, we tend to look at athletes as innovations for our personal lives. Now, there's numerous of stories of cats who was born into poverty, make it to the pros, get selected, and then their lives change. But sometimes we wonder, can they actually be what we consider civil icons? Can they actually be people who can help us personally? Can they actually consider themselves activists? Or, and I feel meant myself, yes to some and no to the others. One of the why I say that is because sometimes we find ourselves divided in today's media. They could take a little part of what you're saying and flip it. And one of the things that I find so hypocritical is when there's people who doesn't make the same amount as these players get, to tend to frown down on them, to say, well, who is you to say anything? Who are you to speak upon something? Well, I feel like, especially a lot of minority players, like in the NBA, I've seen so many countless stories. We've seen it where a mother was raising her kid in a car, or they was homeless. Even LeBron James's mother, they said they stayed sometimes with a family member and they had to share a little room together. You know, they don't have to worry about that now. Now, it was his dedication, because there's a lot of guys I've known who are tall like LeBron, it was big like LeBron, but they didn't make it to the NBA. Now, not because of that they wasn't physically capable. It's just that sometimes you gotta have a heart to go through diversity to achieve something, your goals. Now, one of the things I always learn from sports players is that no matter how the situation looks, you always have a chance if you put a will into it. I'm gonna give you an example. When the Cleveland Cavaliers were in I think it was the 2016 championship against Golden State Warriors, they were down 3-1. That meant the next game the Golden State Warriors win, they win the championship. Now, it was uncalled of for a team to come back from a 3-1 deficit. But I was reading a report where LeBron James and his wife said they were going to take their mind off of the championship series, and they started watching Eddie Murphy's Raw. And while seeing that, inspired LeBron James to tell his teammates, you know what, you should feel shitty. You should be feeling bad about it. But guess what? We're going to leave that here, and we're going to go out there. And if y'all believe in me, we're going to bring it back home for game 6. It's exactly what they did. Sometimes you got to put one foot in front of the other. Now, some people say, well, that's sports. Well, that's life as well. Sometimes everything don't go our way. But yet, if you have a determination and you got a will, then guess what? You can achieve it. Some cats want to go shortcuts because they want to like go rob somebody or something like that. I've seen people watching somebody go back and forth to work, so then that they can go in and try to steal from this person working hard, instead of taking the time, instead of scoping that person, to go and try to achieve your own. But and then we look at an athlete and say, well, they got it made. Well, they wasn't born like that. They may born in the body structure, but doesn't mean that they was born into the millions that they have. Because you can't just go around and just say, oh, I'm tall and I'm gonna just get paid. It doesn't happen like that. It has to have a motivation. Just like I hear people talk about, oh, Deontay Wilder, he's not a boxer. Well, he fought 40 cats that was boxers and knocked them out. Now, who am I gonna listen to? The dudes who knew how to put the right combinations in, or the dude who's knocking them out? So it's a pick of your poison. And so today's subject we're asking is, can an athlete be a civil activist, or someone that we would listen to pattern our lives with? Now, I'm gonna bring up something. This brother right here, I want to show everyone, which this brother brought up a controversy, and I want to bring them up. This man right here. Now, I'm adding to the screen. A lot of people got mad at Colin Kaepernick. Why? Because he decided that he was going to take a knee for what he believed in. That's what he's going to do. Now, he wasn't violent. People tend to look at it like he disrespected the country. You had millions of people who didn't understand what he was saying to frown down because he took a knee because of the Star Spangled Banner being played. Now, the more I look at this, the more I look at this, the more I look at this, you had people that was ready to use their own self-doubt and hatred to throw it at somebody without looking at the story. Because let me tell you something. The most hypocritical thing, then, if that's the case of disrespecting the Star Spangled Banner, that I've been to a Chiefs game, ran my Raiders. Went to a Chiefs game. They were singing the Star Spangled Banner. And at the end, it said, when it says, in the home of the brave, in Arrowhead, they said, in the home of the Chiefs. Now, is that disrespectful to the lyrics? Or they say, oh, well, that's just playful banter. Oh, but it's still the national anthem. So you can banter on the national anthem. Now, and that's because of your own, all these people decide that I'm a Chiefs. Nobody in the world concerns themselves. Or even if the Raiders or any other team said that, home of the Patriots, that's not making any news waves. But what makes news waves is when it's basically saying, boy, stay in your place. That's what I said, boy, stay in your place. You already getting paid, like you're the one who paid them. You're not paying them. The owners who can pay these guys millions of dollars, that's who you're paying. And he's allocating the money that he generated to pay his employees, which are the team members. How can anyone, and shame on the organizations who would sit up here? That's why I was so proud of Nike. Nike gave Colin Kaepernick a nice amount of money, because I think every one of us would agree that Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest boxers of all times. We love watching the movie where he's over there in Zaire and he fights George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle, when it looked like all the odds was against him and all that and everything. But people don't see the picture that he had just came back from where he didn't believe in fighting in the Vietnam War. And next thing you know, he's this and he's that and he's this and that. And the same people who came at him like that, then in the years to come, all of a sudden, oh yeah. Just like when Allen Iverson comes to the league, he's arrested in his rookie year with a couple of his friends because they had some weed, marijuana. They painted him because they got their way they want to look at it. See, they want to paint you on how you should be with your money. See, if I'm making $1 million, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to look, because when I see millionaires like Lori Loughlin and them that take their monies to cheat, where you and I as a general public don't have that type of money to cheat with someone to get my kids in, and they just as dumb as a scarecrow, but you getting them in and putting them on a scholarship so they can look like what? Each of these athletes proving themselves. That's why the people hired them. Tom Brady was around what round? He was selected from the 4th round, I think. No one must have not seen that coming out to this man having now 6 or 7 championships. If that was the case, then he would have been selected in round 1. So it's another person's observation that tends to make us wonder now why I brought up Colin Kaepernick, if anybody was modern as far as doing the civil rights, this man took a knee through the national anthem to bring awareness to blacks that are being killed unarmed and innocently by the police. Now, this is considered peaceful. Now, all over our United States, we talk about gun rights, gun rights, gun rights, gun rights, gun rights. What are you saying, though, America? That only certain people can have guns and blacks don't? Because every time we tend to have a gun, the whole world gets shook up. You know, so we ain't going to do it that way. We don't want a war. But I like what former President Donald Trump said about people who always got comments and stuff. It's usually some late 30, 40-ish year old person living in their parents' house, laying in a raggedy recliner chair down in the basement, giving their comments, starting up propaganda and hatred. Anybody who had to speak against Colin Kaepernick, then to me don't have a heart, because if you had a heart, you would recognize what was he taking the knee for. If he say that oh, well, blacks is getting killed, and you like, oh well, then what does that tell you? Did you look at the signification of this athlete who's on proper TV? Because the powers to be then want that type of attention. I heard one lady told LeBron James, just dribble the basketball. I've always wondered, what qualifies a reporter or someone on a talk show just like me? I don't have to have a degree in reporting. I'm going to tell what I see. I have a degree in engineering. Doesn't mean that I don't live in this society. So why can't I tell what's happening in this society? Well, if I told that lady, don't even do what you know about basketball, except for what they done taught you and what you see. That's the only thing you can report on is what you see. But then when you see somebody who got a little bit more than you tell them you need to just shut up and dribble basketball. Who is you to tell me what I can do? When Gilligan's Island, I could never understand this. How did Thurston Howell and them have all that money? You even rich on the island around your few little peers. What's the use of it? You ain't rich to me if you on the island, and you know what I'm saying? You got all this money. What you doing with all this money on the island you can't get back? Man, come on, it's hypocritical. It's so much hypocrisy sometimes. So then when someone like myself speaks up, I'm going to tell the truth. Because guess what? I live in America. I live in the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And it says that we can protest peacefully. So many people say, hey, don't ever tell me about disrespecting the flag. Because a lot of my family members died for this country even before the Revolutionary War, because my family goes all the way to Crispus Attucks, and even a little bit before then, because we had some family members that goes all the way to the Macon Revolution of 1661. Them fought in every war. Our family members have fought in every war in this country. Now, you know what I find disrespectful is when veterans come back from fighting in a war for America, and they got to be ridiculed and treated badly by some cat that ain't never went and seen another gun faced at them in another war. You sit around here and you want to call shots and whoop de whoop. When people came back from Vietnam War, you ever seen the movie with Rambo? Sylvester Stallone played as Rambo in the very first one. He's minding his own business. He got his army sack. He's running up. Here's some old pantsy, oh, I'm a police officer. And he takes my man and stops him. And next thing you know, he's got to go through all types of stuff. Now, Sylvester Stallone showed it from his perspective. Just think of all the many blacks and minorities that just found out that a lot of military people didn't know that blacks didn't even get no GI Bill even after the Vietnam War. What do you feel or feel a country when you went and fought for freedom for this country to keep people like terrorists coming over here? But yet, when you come back, you got to be ridiculed by someone who ain't been in no military, but yet got something to say to you. You know, want to throw authority, which you believe in your American rights. I seen some police officers stop this brother coming from the military base, and one of the older white cops said, "Oh, you want to ride the white lightning?" And shot me. He told me, "Man, I'm a brother. I'm one of your brothers. I'm fighting for this country." That's disrespectful. You want to get mad at somebody because you wish you had their height, you wish you had their talents. Every time you watch them sports, you wish that was you out there and you put yourself in there. Then when they take a knee, you're like, "Oh, how dare you, boy? Look what we gave you. You ain't gave me nothing but grief. Everything I got, I earned it. You ain't give me nothing but obstacles to make me work harder," because some people give up. Some people say, "Oh, we're the same." Yeah, but why would you apply pressure on me when we the same? And if you love me like you say you do, then why you can't sympathize with what we're crying about? Sympathize with these family members who done lost their child, their teenagers who had a promising. Oh, they supposed to just look past that. Colin Kaepernick's on his knee. He's talking about people like Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, who's laying on his stomach with his handcuffs behind his back, and he's in control of the authorities, and they still shoot him in the back of the head. My man Castile, who's reaching to let him know, and the man shoots him twice in the arm in front of his kids. Oh, you look past that. Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Let me tell you something. What is that family member supposed to do? What am I supposed to do if you kill my son and I know he didn't have no weapon? What do you think I'm supposed to do after, as a kid, I've been watching Death Wish with Charles Bronson and out to Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris and all this revenge stuff. Oh, but you want me to turn the other cheek? Well, something's got to give. And if a knee doesn't work, then guess what? Because see, that's the biggest thing. You know, when people get with other people, um their right mindset. Because remember, there was a demon that was in the Bible, and he was called because it was many of them. He was called legions because it was many of them. And when Jesus supposed to have cast out the demon, they asked, could they go into the pigs? And they said hundreds of pigs ran off a cliff. Now, believe it or not, the farmers got mad at Jesus. Well, all our pigs went off a cliff. Forget the man that just got released from these demons, they chained him to in a cemetery, and he's busting out the change, and he's just fanatical with this demon. But when he cast them out, they got mad at him. Why couldn't you put him in the sparrows? Now what do we do? See, people are so selfish. They want to talk to you like you, make you feel guilty because of your beliefs. Do anybody always listen to Roy Anthony? Nobody. Just make a point. Because if something happens to one of your family members, your mother, your dad, your kids, your wife, girlfriend, or boyfriend, or husband, you don't, and you know that they was just killed without the honor. When do we as Americans who made this country say, God, and God we trust, when do we stop being barbaric? Not just whites, blacks, Latinos, Asians. See, murders. There was a young man in Utah just got shot by some guy. And he walked back to him and shot into him, make sure he was dead. Why? Because this man got a future and he done said something to you. So you like, well, I'm going to end his life because of what he said. Because you are a loser. You are a zero. They show a video. I be laughing because they got this video of this guy who's going to court, and they talking about he killed 17 people for looking at him. And then when he turns to look at the camera, everybody turns their head. I look straight in the face because I was raised, you got to bring some ass to get some ass. You can shoot, I can shoot. And if I know that you like that, I'm going to be ready for you. And you ain't invincible, so I'm going to deal with you probably real harder. You know, I wouldn't care how many tattoos you got in your face. You mess with me, my family or somebody, guess what? I'm going to bring it to you. I don't care about no career and everything. You know, I can't go to heaven or to hell when I die. I can't take that money with me. It's about my moral concepts. How would I be fearful of some man when God is on my side? He said, whom shall I fear? When the wicked and my enemies and foes raise up against me with my flesh, they stumble and they fall. Why would I turn and be scared because this dude, that's why I shared it on my Facebook page. Everybody turns away from him. I'm like, man, I'm not scared of this cat. You just as human like I am. You bleed flesh and blood like I do. I only have one life to live, and I will not fear no man who can destroy this body. I'm gonna fear that one who can destroy my soul. And if he gives me the strength that lets me persevere like I am, then that's where it's at. Now, like I brought up to everyone's attention, there was somebody we all consider one of the greatest athletes, one of the greatest boxers, and that was Muhammad Ali. The people gave this man a hard time, especially when he changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. Oh, they gave him the blues. Now, in our generation, we had Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. And so today's topic is, can a sports player be an activist? I say yes. Sometimes people want to be, they get into a position and next thing you know, they philosophical. You know, that's why I be like, man, sometimes I wave my hand like this to Terry Crews because when I saw you in movies and Fridays, you flexing your pecs and all that. And to me, I'm like, okay, you know, is that an Oscar worthy? But now I see you on the side with spectacles and, oh yeah, I said, you know, the black on black crime, all that, man, I don't want to hear that. You know, then you get with somebody who's a different race and try to act like you're a spokesman for me. You can't, unless you walked and been through this neighborhoods, whatever. And if you did, you ain't gonna forget. My grandmother said, Roy, I don't care where you go in life, don't forget where you come from. Because that creates an humbleness in me. Because everybody doesn't get it entitled like you do. Everybody don't get enriched like you do. Everybody may not think like you do. Some of us have, like me, I got strong confidence in myself. I got a high self-esteem. You know, I feel like when I come in a room, I set the aura. It's on someone else to feel that way. If they don't feel that way, don't go with a group of people and say, oh, look at Roy, look at Roy. Guess what? Because it doesn't affect me. Comments don't affect me. Because I was raised, sticks and stones break my bones. Words don't ever hurt me because I get in front of your life. I want to see how different you are from mine. I don't measure about money. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire or you're the brokest person. Because when you die, you can't take it with you. There was a story of a lady whose husband died, and he had like multi-millions of dollars. And his request was he wanted to take his money with him to be buried. He wanted his money to go with him. So his wife wrote a personal check and put it in the coffin. Now, cash that. When you get to where you got to go, you cash that. I'm sorry. Hey, everyone. Somebody said, hey, everyone. Sometimes those who comes in, if you don't give your identity, it just say Facebook user, and I can't tell who it is, but whoever that was, hey everyone, hey to you too. Okay, so I want to show this. I want to bring up something I brought up with Muhammad Ali. I want to share this with everyone. Let me get this on. I want you to check this out if you don't mind.
Charlie, if you believe that, why don't you leave the country?
I like to say one thing. He was right. I could be a millionaire fugitive if I was greedy and worried about myself. But one thing
You could give it away.
no, one thing I like to say.
You become a Canadian and then fight and then send the money to Elijah.
Oh, no, this is not my purpose. He don't need my pennies.
Well, some people do.
So I would like to say this. That the flesh and the blood of my people, and their freedom is more important. Now, one thing I like to say real quick when you say you ask some questions. When the whites first came to America from England, they didn't have the air conditions, the Buffalo show, and the jet planes. They had to ride stagecoaches, watch Indians scab and kill their wives, no medicine, no penicillin. But nevertheless, the first whites kept coming, they cut down the trees, underbrush, until they made a way for you. Then they went and got them slaves and worked for 400 years to build a country. But they died, but they never saw this because they made a way for you. And in World War II, the Japanese, his life didn't mean nothing to some of them. They had planes called suicide missions. He knew he would die. He ran the plane directly into the ship for his people in the future, his children. Now, but black people, we've been told that we will never be free until someone has to die, someone has to give up wealth, their loved ones, and their health. So what I'm doing is for myself and for justice for black people, running will kill it all, make me a coward. You understand? So I would rather go to jail.
Sure. Mr. Greenfield.
I've heard you speak before about what you're doing now and how you enjoy it. But I just wonder, being quite honest with us, are there times when you miss being heavyweight champ of the world?
No, they miss me.
I know that.
Now, I don't miss it. I'm not missing it. See, I would like to say one thing. Whites have been, you may say, why is he always talking about whites and blacks? Because everything happening to me is racial. It's all based on race and religion. You understand? And the boys, I know Joe Namath, George Hamilton, get out of the army and do everything. I'm a scapegoat. So I got to think like this. I'm a victim of all this.
You know, there are white kids in jail for 5 years. In fact, those Boston guys didn't get 2 years. They got 6.
Why did they got 2.5?
No. They got 6.
Wisconsin. But what I would like to say is this, your question was,
Do you miss it sometimes? You miss
no.
being the best fighter in the world.
I am the best. I don't miss being the best.
Able to prove that again.
I don't have to prove it. Can you name somebody that
Not right
has
now.
No. So I'm not saying. You've been brainwashed to think that I'm not the champ.
No. I just wonder if you miss what you're
No,
doing.
I missed the money, not boxing. I'm being truthful. I could box tomorrow. I would go to the gymnasium, call my sparring partners, and box all day. But I want the money for it.
Mr. Ali, you said that you're against war. I wonder how you feel about the Black Panthers' domestic war. Yeah.
Well, we black people as a whole are at war, I would say, with the white power structure. Not physically, but we have different approaches to win the battle. Like, for example, America's in Vietnam. One American is fighting from the air. The other American is fighting on the land. Another one is on the shore, shooting on with the ships. Another one is a secret spy. Another one is in a submarine. They all fight the same common enemies. They say the Viet Cong, but they have different approaches. See, black people all are fighting you all for freedom, justice, and equality. One believes that intermarriage is going to solve it. And 200 years from now, we all be a beautiful, clean color. He really believes it. One believes that getting some rifles and shooting up the country is going to solve it. Another one believes that education, one day we'll be the president. One believes that we got to get into the white man's pockets and get all the money. You've got hundreds of billions of dollars that he'll never see, I'll get to. But he believes that one day he's going to get most of the money. But we believe that the problem, the answer is separation, marrying our own kind, cleaning up yourself, doing for yourself, and getting some land and building our own nation. So the Black Panthers are a group who figuring that they are right and doing the thing the way they see it. But we don't all agree with each other, but we're not here to talk about it. But I will say, on balance, Elijah Muhammad teaches us it's impossible to be violent against the most powerful military country on the planet. It's impossible.
Mr. Gaynor.
Mr. Ali, if you feel that the white man is your common enemy, do you foresee eventual physical conflicts between your movement and the white community?
No, sir. I would like to say that when you say my movement, you say not my movement.
Well, the movement of
Right. You gotta watch us because you'll have me think it's my movement. It's not my movement. That's what they did Malcolm X, and he would straighten that out. Talk like it's his movement. It's not our movement. It's only like it's God.
Do you think we'll be an
It's
eventual
God's
conflict?
movement. Only like Muhammad's teaching to us. Not with Muslims unless you attack us. See, after each meeting, we say that we don't believe in being the aggressor, but fight like hell against those who fight against you, but not be the aggressor, which is nothing wrong with that. But I like to say that Muslims are never in violence with white people. It's the black man who loves you. See, you don't let him in your toilet, you don't let him in your restroom, you don't let him marry your daughter, you gotta fight. So we have to be bothered, you understand? Muslims don't come in, we don't have no trouble with you. It's just the integrator.
Do you allow white men in your meetings?
No, sir, not religious meetings, no, sir. It's a family problem and discussion, and you would feel out of place. You know, I'm sure you all have many meetings we can't go to.
Few.
I can't think of any. In fact, I can't think of any, but Mr. Bueller.
You can't think of no meetings that white folks have and black folks can go to?
Can
You should be sharing yourself. I'm sure it's a whole lot of them. A lot of churches.
Mr. Lee, from the conversation with Mr. Buckley, I assume that if given a chance and your appeal is won in the Supreme Court, you would return to the ring. Now, wouldn't this conflict with your being an ordained minister of Islam and therefore pacifist?
You can look at it that way, sir. I understand what you're saying. I asked this question a million times in colleges. I'm in about $485,000 worth of debt now, which the court said I don't have to pay until I can earn it. And I want to pay my debt and get right out of the ring. But I would like to say boxing cannot be compared with war. We have gloves on, we have cushions, we have referees, we have judges, we have ambulances. The intention is not to kill. We don't have steel, we don't have bullets, we don't kill mama, kill daddy, kill baby. The intention is a sport, and we're not there to kill. So boxing cannot be compared in no way with machine guns and bombs and everything that you use.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough. Just in closing, Mr. Lee, do you feel that you will be able to repay this money that you owe?
If I'm allowed to pursue my profession, yes.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you very much. Thank you all.
Now, that was the legendary Muhammad Ali. Now, when we do a lot of research, and I had never seen that. I've seen where he approached the reporters about, I'm gonna be my type of millionaire. See, that's the first thing is that you ever notice when someone makes money, you got all these people who's telling you how you should conduct yourself. Now, you didn't have nothing to do with me making my money. And now you're telling me how to conduct myself. Now, what's a trip is that how far can we say we advance as a country when this video here is like in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They done stripped Muhammad Ali of his title. He's waiting to go through a hearing. He's out of fighting for 5 years. So he's doing interviews and lectures, and he never wavers. He answers everybody's questions in a good, smooth way. He way better than me, because some of them questions I get irritated. When the guy tried to lie and say, oh, I ain't never been in a private meeting. Okay. Okay. Private meetings been occurring since 1661, when the British went after the Jamaican Revolution. Indentured servants and slaves were together, living in the same compound. The Jamaican Revolution went on for a year, and the British said, we got to separate them. We got to cause a division because a divided states will fall. They said we'll take the ones that look like us because British people was considered elite of Caucasians. They wasn't even considered whites. They was considered British. Now you have other people from Sweden and these other different countries that look similar to British. And the British will let them know, well, you're not British, but you look close to us. So what they did was we're called as a division. We're going to grab the ones that look like us. We're not going to call them British, but we're going to call them whites. And we're going to get our soldiers behind them and let them make up some laws. In the meantime, it'll keep a division. You ever had where, because I've been around where other blacks, we working at a job and then the black guy, one of our partners, gets a supervisor role. Now all of a sudden, he done forgot how we were, and he's a stick in the butt dude now. You ever seen the movie Which Way Is Up with Richard Pryor? That signifies how that story goes. But in 1661, they come up with these laws. They took some white guys, and it wasn't the strong ones. They took the ones that looked like Benjamin Franklin, little short, fat, insecure guys, and said, whatever laws y'all come up with, the Queen's troops, the British, is going to back you up. They came up the first law, and you can look it up in 1661. The first time that a race, which was considered white people, was ever identified as being white. The first thing they said was black men will not be able to marry white women. Now, why would that be such a focus? And that's the start of it. So if you was white and stuff, just like, okay, someone tries out for a basketball team. I'm trying out for the basketball team. These other guys are trying for the basketball team. I'm picked. He isn't. I get a jersey and a uniform and a sweatsuit. Well, I really don't hang with you. I hang with my teammates because I'm selected. You are not. So what would you expect other whites to do? They're going to fall in line. Some people didn't agree with it, but some people ain't strong enough to go against it. There's a movie with Matthew McConaughey. I forget but it's simple. He said he wasn't going to go with the way the structures of this world or our United States is going. Now, it baffles me when I see something like this, Muhammad Ali, and then it goes all the way to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. Yet you want to try to make me feel I'm the bad guy. I'm the devil. I'm the whatever, when you're not even looking at your own table. When that guy said, oh, I ain't never been in a private meeting, Muhammad Ali called him out right there. He said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You gonna sit up there and lie like that? Private meetings been on golf courses. I've seen major deals go down at a golf course. I went golfing with these guys one time just to see what my handicap was totally bad. You're supposed to be, 5 strokes to get to this one hole. I think I had 12. Sometime by the ninth hole, I gave up because I was drinking the whole time. But I'm listening. And I was like, wow. Ain't no one saying nothing to them because some people actually believe that person is right. And when you get with a group of people who's like-minded like yourself, you can't do nothing but just demonstrate evilness. That's why the word of God says, bad company corrupts good manners. Probably excuse Big Hank, he hasn't came in. I don't know if it was something I did wrong or something wrong, but we always go by how the Spirit leads us. I am Roy Anthony. This is the Roy Anthony Show with my co-stars, Big Hank, Christina Carter. They both have situations that come on. They would have hit me up if they had any problems or something, but that means something that occurred. And they know we're going to hold the flag down. last week. They held it down for me. But I've been wondering this. I hear some people, when I heard that lady tell LeBron James, just shoot back, just dribble the ball. You ain't gave no one a contract. And the story is that he made himself out of something. You was born with money. Would you hate him that much because you got all the privileges in the world given to you, and this is the level you got to? This man has dealt with a negative hand from the time we are born as blacks. We are born as a negative. And to crawl out of the murk to become something makes hatred up in people because they don't like the story. We will sit up and sympathize with other countries and let them tell their stories. But you sure don't want our country to let the stories be known. And I'm letting anybody know the world sees it. My cousins, they all go to live in London and stuff. They from America, they live in London. He said, man, they aren't looked at as, oh, you're black. They looked at as, oh, you're an American. That's what they say to him. You're an American. But over here in America, you this or that, dribble the ball, boy. Go to jail, boy. Shoot me with gun rights, but you're going to shoot me because I'm reaching for my cell phone, boy. Catch that football, boy. Stand up, put your heart to your chest while you play our national anthem. You ain't fought in their war. You ain't been with Goose and Redneck Pimp and Blue Phoenix who went in there serving, because everybody I meet from the military who really was there doing really in battles had to depend on other people beside their own race when it came to that war. In the movies, The Red Wings, they gave the blacks such a hard time, but them carriers wanted them Red Wings to follow them because they willing to fight. But when we land on the ground, you want to say, boy, I want to show supremeness. You know, it's hypocrisy, and I'm willing to call it out. You don't have to like me. You don't have to believe what I'm saying, but I'm just being logical. When one of my friends, it was a white guy, his son was about to make the football team, and they looked past him and picked these other guys to go to college. Man, I sympathize with him because his son worked so hard to hope that he can go to college. Now, there's some guys, I went to school. I was a freshman when Xavier McDaniel was a senior. He was leading the nation, 32 points a game, over 20 rebounds per game. He was the X-Man. Knowing he was about to get paid, I would be at parties and stuff. They didn't say nothing to Xavier. They didn't say nothing to him. But let one of us say something or do something, oh, boy, we were scrutinized. See, I always think it's always to someone's benefit. If you ain't getting no benefit out of it, let me tear it down. You have to look at yourself when you say, well, if you so against Colin Kaepernick and you have the nerves to say F Colin Kaepernick, then that means you ain't took a look to see what was he fighting about. That means you don't have no respect for me, because that was my little brother, my little sister, my son, and my daughter that was murdered. But you're telling me F Colin Kaepernick, especially to me? And you supposed to want me to deal with it? Well, how would you feel if someone says that to you about one of your victims in your family or you went through? Well, we said, that's you, I don't give a. How would you feel? We have visuals. I see someone be in a car accident or something on the street and they put the little candles up and everything. Well, if I got in my car and just kick that around, I don't care about this. How would you feel? When I see those memorials on the highway, I sympathize. I don't even know the people, but first thing I would say is, oh, somebody lost one of their loved ones. When I see the candles and teddy bears on the side of the road, I sympathize with that because I'm a human. I got a heart. But when you see this man making a knee and you want to criticize him and call him all types of names and threaten, I ain't going to the football game because of that and all that. That shows you just how hateful you are. And I don't want to be a friend with you, because if I do go through something, you're not going to sympathize with me. Just like if you're going through it and I got friendship with you, trust me, I'm going to sympathize with you. Even if I don't have a friendship with you, I'm going to sympathize with you. Now, there's the difference. When people say, yeah, do I go with the company Black Lives Matter? I knew my life mattered just like anybody else's lives matter. Blacks lives matter, whites lives matter, but they're not getting killed like we are. See, the saying was brought up because it seemed like it didn't matter. When police are stopping a basic traffic stop, why are you ready to shoot? Because you think I don't matter. And guess what? You're not stopping El Chapo. You're not stopping El Capone. You stop a person with their kids, yet you got your gun. And you're telling me that I'm an animal? You're telling me not to sympathize when I see one of my family members getting killed? Then I've seen some whites say one time, oh, them blacks, this and that. I said, how many blacks have you encountered? Well, my friend said, wait a minute, I didn't ask you about your friend. I asked you about you. So you think that you can jump out and meet your friends and y'all drink some beer and tailgate at the football games and everything. You do everything under the sun. Then you go in that stands and like you part of the team. But as soon as that man take a knee, oh, look at that Afro wearing boy that on his knees. F him. But you ain't even listening at the story. But you, my friend, we Americans. I'm confused because sometimes we tend to look at someone, and I don't blame any athlete or whatever. You have a voice to speak, except for Ben Simmons. I don't know what's going on. I'm be honest with you. I ain't never seen no Ben Simmons here because they said he's in Australia, because I ain't never seen no cat like that. Man up, man. Man up and stuff. Now, I don't sympathize with him because you make $144 million. You couldn't make a layup. You 6'10". You can't, that's nobody on yourself. We all laughed. If I owned a team, I ain't trading for you. I ain't getting rid of my players. I need somebody who's going to at least try to take a shot. And if you don't take a shot, man up. We must believe in you. We gave you a 4-year extension. I can see that in sports. But if that man decided that he was doing this because of racial inequality, now I'm going to sympathize. If he felt that someone was murdered or something, I'm going to sympathize. Mother Teresa, what she do? She starved herself for days, for weeks, trying to bring attention to her people. I look at people like Cesar Chavez, who sold people. He had to unite the workers. All these people want to eat food, but they just looking down at the Mexicans because they picking the green beans and all that stuff. And he told me, he said, I'd rather die on my feet than to live the rest of my life on my knees. We want to take pride that we helped people around the other world, but you can't even help the one in your neighbor. You've been around hip hop music since the middle 80s. Some of y'all play hip hop music when you're away from your group of friends. Then get around your friends and I'm a stogie from all that stuff. But as soon as you get away, my theaters. But yet, and some of y'all are cowards because you won't stand up for something you believe is right. You rather go with the crowd. And that makes you weak. If you know what's right and wrong, and you looking at your kids, I tell somebody, if you got kids and a wife, don't listen to someone who don't have a wife and the kids. That's what's wrong with the laws now, with parents and the children and stuff like that. You got all these people who can't even bust a nut, but yet telling you how you should do with your kids. You always got some single person who wants to tell you how to discipline your kids. There was a teacher in Los Angeles. She didn't have no kids, and she was one of the big supporters of that children shouldn't be spanked and everything. Then she had 2 kids. The police had to come because she was whooping the mess out of her kid. We got to look at ourselves and stop being hypocritical. People say, what's going on with the world? Well, look at yourself. Am I a supporter of Michael Jackson? No, I don't know his life, but I do like his songs. He said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Don't look at Colin Kaepernick to change his ways. Don't look at Roy Anthony to change his ways. Don't look at him because I'm your brother. I'm a true American. I bleed red. My family members are Americans, and if I'm gonna die for my family members who are Americans, what does that tell you? But some of us feels that who's American, who's not. And I was discussing this earlier. I'm going to leave this with somebody. We must have believed in America because this is never talked about. After the Civil War, us blacks seemed like we could have been like, well, we won this war to the spoils goes to war. So we're going to take over this country. It's our country now. We done whooped all y'all. We made you surrender. So this is our country. Or, well, we did our part. We helped you, Abraham Lincoln. We just need about 6 of them big old ships, and we're taking ourselves back to Africa. Because we won the war. But guess what? We have a belief that we was going to be Americans. And then all of a sudden, we got all these generation of sore losers raising kids, and this is going to rise. Where you rising to? A lot of y'all think that President Donald Trump got the answer for you. He's taking your money doing his thing. He ain't paid your Edison bill, your electricity bill. He ain't paid nothing for that. But because he keeps up the propaganda that you want to believe in, because the word of God say man will believe lies before they believe the truth. Now you say, Roy, you always quoting scriptures. Yes, I better lie myself with something. Yes, I do drink. Yes, I do smoke. Yes, I do cuss. So, Lord, help me, because guess what? I had to ask him to help me to take other things out. Because beside them 3 things, I'm ready to snatch your dome off. I'm ready to do all types of revengeful stuff. But the Lord had to show me that's not love. Because love conquers hate. Just like that people come up with this fake stuff talking about fire fights fire. Now, fire makes a bigger fire. You better get some type of extinguisher, water. If you got a grease fire, you better throw some powder on it. See, we listen to these fake ideologies. We listen to a group of people. And then you go home and you knowing that it just don't seem right. You empty, but you want to feel that you fit in. You want to feel like you part of something. No matter if it's against your own moral concepts, you'll go with that. Should sports athletes be able to be civil leaders? Yeah. Because we got more eyes on you watching you. Why not make a statement of how you believe? You know, some people don't want to say nothing because they scared of the comments and the rebuke that they're going to get and all that. Well, bring it to me, because God only puts on me what I can bear, and what don't kills me make me stronger. Do I want this America to be better? Oh, yeah. Is it going to get better? No. Because the word of God said when man calls peace, sudden destruction. Only thing that can help this world is when it burns. It's a purification. And if you got your soul right, there it is. Because we cannot change the will of man. Only man can change their own sight. Just like me, I had to change my own mindset. Because we got cats in the streets that still killing each other. No matter how much they say Afro Black, and then the media, oh my God, the media always magnifies it. I was telling my son the other day, I said, he understood what I was saying. I said, when we do something, you and me, I'm talking about me as a Walters, when we do something, when I was a kid, it seemed like it was always magnified of what I did. Oh Lord, he did this. But let Junior and them do it. Oh well, it's not that bad. It can be accepted. You know, you kind of expected that from them. But oh, back to you. Here's Magna. Everybody who called out Colvin Kaepernick, I be wanting to do them like when Jesus had the lady who was caught in adultery and all the Jewish men came around ready to stone her, talking about, hey, he started writing in the ground. He calling out names. He writing out, yeah, use this and that. They all left. And he looked at the lady and said, where's your accusers? He lined them all up and said, each one of y'all, without no sin, no doubt, or none of that. Throw your first slurs. It's easy to hide with a group of people. But when you're individually alone, let's see how you think. You can open up your mouth and say 3 or 4 words, and I automatically know this dude where his intellect is. I'm comedian Roy Anthony. What I do is I share my thoughts. These are things I think about. Now, when I do stand up, I take all this in perspective, but it's for me to flip it in a humorous way, but I'm going to still be parallel with the truth. This isn't a comedy thing sometimes. Sometimes we say something funny, but it's also an intellect. If you read my topics, it say today's topics with humor and intellect, because it's not a confrontation. It's a conversation. Now, you may not believe or agree, but you have to look at yourself. Don't look at the person you with. And if one of your friends is talking to you differently than what you think, then that's shame of you if you don't stand up, because that means you weak and you're a follower. And God made us the head and not the tail. So if you want to be the tail, you're going to shake your ass then like that. Because I'm a head. And I don't have to follow every single person. I don't care how many rap songs they sing. I don't care how many touchdowns or NBA dunks that a person do. If you're talking in the, like Muhammad Ali said, where it's not just about myself as an individual, but as a group. It starts with my home. I always tell people, it starts at your home. It starts with you first. You can't change the world if your bed is unmade. You start with your house. You clean up your house. You clean up your neighborhood. Then you can stretch out to your city. Then you can stretch out to your state. Then you might want to talk about your country and change the world. You ain't helping the world because you came up with a good diddle song and everybody can shake their butts at the same time. But after that 5 minutes and 43 seconds go, we back to the same thing. You haven't really made a change. You just made me kind of take my mind off of stuff. Colin Kaepernick could have been concerned with throwing touchdowns, but his mind was to take a knee with a subject of saying, hey, I want to bring awareness to the police violence. That's being an activist, man. I'm comedian Roy Anthony. Thank you for coming to the Roy Anthony Show. My co-stars will be back in. They said they'd be in Thursday and stuff. And I just want to thank those who did come in. You can always watch the videos. We've been consistent. Tuesdays and Thursdays, an hour of your day. Sometimes we go a couple of minutes over. Always pay attention to Woe Entertainment. Richie, Redneck Pimp, and guest that he comes on. They come on again 3 o'clock p.m. And you watch it through the same networks. 3 o'clock p.m. today. They be having some inspiring subjects. And I want everybody to say, hey, peaceful. Thank you. This has been October the 5th, 2021. They also have a major show coming up November the 6th. I've seen some of the lineups: Typhoon Panda, Sean Hill, Richard Matano, of course, Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp. And we'll give a shout out to him and his whole family and the crews and each one of the comedians. Looking forward to work. If I'm in town, I've been getting calls to come everywhere. I'm going back to North Carolina, then Memphis, then back to Long Beach, and I'm spreading hey, if you run into me, we can have a talk. I'm not threatening and stuff. I know how to protect myself if it comes down to that, but some of the homies that be around me ain't gonna let that happen. But I don't mind talking to anybody. I come to your house and we can sit down and have a conversation. I'm gonna listen to you and we can listen to each other. So God bless everyone.
Hey, is this thing on? Can you hear me? Is anybody out there? Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy